I found myself chasing an impossible dream. Everything seemed surreal. How did I fit into the story so well? It started off as an ambitious pursuit. After being a lifelong failure, I had to figure out who I wanted to be. I wanted to do something meaningful. In a quest to find myself, I just happened to stumble upon my destiny. An idea to do something different evolved into something magnificent. I took pride in writing this masterpiece, the next chapter of human civilization. It seems like it's taking me forever to put it together. And now I realize all I'm doing is just playing out a role in a far grandiose conspiracy. All of the pieces are falling into place bit by bit. The dominoes are all set up. This is the key to change it all. Surreal. What is real? It's such a privilege to be where I stand. I am what I am. And this manuscript was left untouched since early 2017. I have been through hell since. I have not wavered from my path. Negotiations or surrender was never an option. And finally, this year, everything seems to be coming full circle and a new cycle of opportunity. In 2016, I found myself standing at a crossroads. My world, my beliefs, my very identity unraveled before me, laying bare the daunting and magnificent path that lay ahead. The weight of years, of failures, heartbreaks, and unanswered questions bore down on me. Yet, in that profound moment, I realized that these weren't setbacks. They were pieces of a grand design, an impossible dream. A whisper of an idea born in the back of my mind had now evolved into a revolution, one that I had to see through, no matter the cost. At first, it all seemed surreal. I was just trying to raise money for a good cause. A simple task, right? But this was no ordinary journey, and I was no ordinary man anymore. It wasn't long before I realized that the universe had conspired to place me at the helm of something much larger than myself. Everything I had once known, everything I had once been, was being stripped away to reveal my destiny. I began 2016 in deep introspection, trying to alleviate my own suffering. But the more I tried to move forward, something seemed missing. It was as if the suffering I had experienced was a fractal of something much greater. I had learned to see patterns in my work as a day trader, reading and analyzing stock market trends, economic shifts and political and governing shenanigans, and world and business events. I had like 4, 5, 6, 7 news channels on at a time, just scanning to predict the next jump in the market. Truth be, making money is easy. It's an unconventional truth. I learned the money game a long time ago, and I have tasted and tested many a work environment in the Western world. And I knew I could survive easily, but that was not enough, and I am not one to settle. After all, I promised her the world, her meaning, my next love, and my family. I just wanted to be the perfect son, brother, husband, and father. It was a selfish agenda, absolutely. I decided to be my very own level best self, and I wished that too upon a shooting star, that I be her worthy and desired husband, and able to give my family everything best that the world had to offer. But, as it turns out, I adopted all of the world's children and redefined the word family itself. I learned pattern reading to understand and exploit money-making trends, and then I was seeing those same patterns in life itself. What started as a plan to become a successful day trader evolved into a profound understanding of the patterns that governed not just markets, but life, politics, and even spirituality and reality itself. Inspired by the audacious work of the Young Turks Network and Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign, I knew I had to do more. I envisioned an independent, global media organization, a truth teller amidst the lies that corrupted society. This was just the first step. The audacity of my goals expanded exponentially as I began to understand that I wasn't just fixing broken systems, I was building something entirely new, solving problems like media bias, economic inequality, and societal corruption was not just any ordinary pattern. I was answering my calling. The deeper I looked, the more I realized that humanity's inertia was one of its greatest obstacles. We were stuck not because we lacked the ability to change, but because we had forgotten how to care. Ignorance, arrogance, fear, apathy, avoidance, indifference, selfishness, and greed are some of the root causes of our collective suffering. But I was always optimistic and full of hope. The younger generations, we who were born in 1980s and later, made up over 60% of the global population, and we hold the key to transformative change. Privileged, I wrote with conviction, we are the generation that will fix this. I couldn't ignore the parallels between my personal turmoil and the larger crises unfolding across the world. I wasn't alone in my pain. My suffering was shared by millions. Everywhere I looked, I saw the same symptoms. People crushed under the weight of greed, fear, and ignorance. The systems meant to safeguard humanity had become the very chains binding it. Most were too preoccupied with day-to-day survival to even take notice, while others, like me, had begun to awaken to the truth. And most either turn a blind eye and focus on themselves or fall into submission or oppression. The world was on a catastrophic course, and nobody seemed to care. I opened the doorway to opportunity and escape from all misery. But all they saw was a madman. I was met with skepticism and dismissal. They thought I had gone crazy. Delusions of grandeur, they said, or savior complex. But in this upside-down crazy world, I was one of the few who could see clearly and had their priorities straight. The greed, the misinformation, the lack of empathy, these weren't just isolated problems. They were symptoms of a world on the brink of collapse, destruction, or transformation. And as the patterns revealed themselves, I realized that I had a critical role to play in solving this. As I traced the origins of my vision, I couldn't ignore the personal transformation I had undergone. My failures, my struggles with coping that led to coping, and behavior distortions. One time I spent 3 nights waiting bail in remand jail at Don Jail. They weren't just experiences. They were lessons, and not the traditional type. The dysfunctions and setbacks of the system. I was in remand jail, arrested for domestic violence. I do no wrong or harm, definitely not intentionally. My life's lessons have come through acts of righteousness or out of spontaneous, radical love demonstrations. I was a different being back then. I reflected, seeing how that time had opened my eyes to society's ills, from the failures of the prison system to the mental health crisis that plagued so many. This was never just about me. From university to all sorts of work environment, I was observing people and trying to see where I could come of help. I love to serve. My personal failures had forged a broader understanding of how society itself was failing. My humor became a lifeline amidst the gravity of my mission. I came up with the perfect plan to take over the world. Muha-ha-ha-ha. I kidding. But even in jest, I knew the world needed saving, and maybe a bit of laughter along the way. Out of my personal missteps emerged a vision for global leadership, one that was not about power, but about service and transformation. I couldn't sit idly by anymore. The political system was broken beyond repair. Politics had become a playground for the elite, while the rest of us were left to pick up the scraps. The media, the supposed watchdog of democracy, had been bought, feeding lies and distractions to keep us compliant. I was disgusted, disillusioned, but more than that, I was ready to fight back. The world didn't need more empty promises or secret deals. What it needed was a revolution, Not a violent one, but a revolution of the mind, heart, and soul. A coup, led not by politicians or corporate tycoons, but by the people, by those of us who still cared, who could still feel. I envisioned a new global government, one that combined the wisdom of the ages with the tools of the future. A government led by millennials. People like me who had inherited a broken world, but also the awareness and determination to fix it. But even beyond millennials, there was something else, something more powerful at play. I began to see that a new generation of beings had arrived. The Indigo, Crystal, and Rainbow children. These children weren't just the future. They were the key to humanity's survival. These children, born into a world that seeks to corrupt them, were resistant to its darkness. They came with a purpose, to raise the frequency of the planet, to guide us to a higher state of consciousness. These weren't just new age fantasies. I could feel it, see it happening all around me. The old systems were crumbling because these children were agents of change, tearing down the walls that separated us, pushing us toward a new way of living. It was chaotic, yes, but it was a necessary chaos. Out of that chaos and confusion comes focus and purpose. This idea, a strategy humanly attainable for a new world order, had emerged. Later, I learned of the conspiracies, but the one I designed was to be built on peace, love, wisdom, and unity. I realized that I was a key player in this epic change. The role I thought I volunteered, in truth, I had been thrust into, and was no accident or luck. The prophecies from the Abrahamic scriptures to Hindu and Buddhist eschatology were being fulfilled, but not in the way most people imagined. Heaven wasn't some far-off place you go to after death. It was meant to be created here on earth, and I was the bridge between the old world and the new. It was my responsibility to guide humanity through this transition, to help bring about heaven to earth. For much of my life, I identified religion as the root of all evil. Growing up in a conservative Muslim family, I was told that non-believers would burn in hell, that the Hindus or Buddhists or Jews were our enemies, that there was only one path to salvation, and that we must submit to this Allah's commands. I did, I acknowledge in my weakness, but when time came, couldn't comply or even tolerate it. I grew to despise Abrahamic religion. I practiced a form of Buddhism from Japan and was clueless about Hinduism. I could not submit to this tyrant, oppressive, abusive God. I even told my mother that I would destroy her religion. I was filled with rage at the hypocrisy, at the oppression and abuse I realized was happening, all in the name of God. But life is full of paradoxes, and I soon found myself connected intricately with the very thing I sought to destroy. Through my own spiritual awakening, I began to see the truth. God is real, but not in the way I had been taught. God wasn't an external force to be feared. God, I decided, was life itself, and I was made to realize all is life. God, potential or presence, was within each of us, waiting to be realized, waiting to be freed. In my studies, I uncovered the divine code hidden within the ancient letters. Alif, Lam, Mim, the first letters of both the Torah and the Quran. These letters does not represent some cryptic religious mystery. They simply translated ALM, which I figure deciphers as all life matters. It was so obvious, yet humanity had forgotten to realize what undoubtedly is the most precious, lost in translation and transliteration, just as depicted in the biblical and Quranic story of the Tower of Babel. God wasn't in the sky, not the absolute. It is in every being and is everything, all that exists. It is consciousness and all its dimensions of experience and evolution. That is all there is, and in all forms of energy. Religion was meant to divide and keep us in the dark, Enlightenment is the key to liberation and end to suffering. Love, righteousness, compassion, understanding and wisdom. Appeal. Betrayal in politics, the rise of Trump, and the inspiration of Sanders. As I wrestled with these spiritual and cosmic revelations, I found myself made aware of the truth behind global politics. I had placed my faith in Bernie Sanders, a man of integrity, a man who genuinely wanted to change the world for the better, with a demonstrated decades-long record. But the system wasn't built for people like Sanders. It was rigged. It was all just a show. This freedom of choice. I watched as the Democratic Party betrayed him, just as it had betrayed the US citizens. It was then that I knew the system could not be fixed from within. And then Donald Trump was elected president, as if cruel joke was played on the world. Democracy, as we knew it, had died. But frankly, when did it ever exist? I was made to reflect on everything that had led me to this point. I knew I had no choice but to make the best of myself. I wanted a simple life of traveling and service. My 30th birthday on 3/16 or March 16, 2016 had passed, and I dropped acid, LSD, relatively for the first time on the eve of spring equinox. I was not remotely spiritually aware, and it was all for entertainment. And I was enjoying all the lights and color show. What I found was a profound rewiring of my brain in the days following, a reconfiguration of my life's experiences and ideas. After ideas were popping up, everything I've been chasing, from university to real estate sales to day trading to trying to make sense of the chaos in the world, fell into place like a master puzzle. It was clear. There was no turning back. I started formulating a plan. It began with an independent global news network based out of the most global city, my adopted home of Toronto, a way to bring truth to the forefront in a world drowning in misinformation. But that was only the first step. I started to imagine systems, an entirely new set of systems, to run parallel to and systematically replace the outdated, destructive ones that were causing everyone so much misery. The entire planetary establishment. My day trading experience had taught me how to spot patterns, and those skills allowed me to trace the patterns of dysfunction in global economics, politics, and culture. These patterns were clear to me, but the world was blind to them. And when I looked around, searching for someone capable of leading this change, the obvious names came to mind. Justin Trudeau, Bernie Sanders, and a short list of few other notable, honorable individuals. They were great men and women, yes, but still part of the old system. Then it hit me. Why not me? I was nobody. And that was exactly the point. It was precisely because I wasn't part of the system that I could see it so clearly. Everything changed in that very instant. I wasn't just a man with a vision. I had become the vision. The world needed someone who wasn't afraid to break free from the old ways, and I realized that this responsibility had fallen to me. I took it voluntarily, but in fact, I never really had a choice in it. Declaring planetary independence, a vision for the future. On April 9th, 2016, I stood among a room full of people at the Soka Gakkai district meeting in Toronto, and I attempted to declare planetary independence. I wasn't speaking for myself. I was speaking on behalf of the billions of voiceless, the oppressed, the marginalized, the ones crushed under the weight of greed, fear, corruption, and oppression. In that moment, I audaciously assumed the role of acting world president, not for the sake of power, but for service, and I was ready to stand in front of the United Nations Assembly and order the world powers to stop their shenanigans. The world was on the brink of collapse, and nobody was acting on behalf of the entire collective. So I did, exactly as nobody heard. nobody saw, nobody cared, nobody knew, and likewise only this nobody dared. I expected to be met with resistance, and boy, have I been made resilient to it in the better portion of the past decade, since this manuscript was last edited, and have all the pieces I was trying to put together. You can say in this, while I went incognito on the front lines, got down to the ground, got made muddy, Mo insisted, and although unwitting, I was made true to my word, tried and tested, and made worthy, human and grounded, seated and securely rooted. Zion has been authenticated and firmly established. I did not even know what that meant. For the dramatics, I have given you my all, blood, sweat, and tears. It came with unconditional love, gratitude, respect, all my attention and tender care. You even had me made martyr. I died for real. And they revived me. And then all those philosophical ones, spiritual deaths. All because that is how much I love and care. It all started with wanting to give the world to my woman and family. And then it became Royal Toronto, family, one world, one race, one family. But who believes in humanity? And I am fighting for every scattered, estranged fragment of my soul, family. No bias, no prejudice, no discrimination, and not even judgment is there. And even within the most noble and diverse Buddhist organization, the very ones that had taught me so much about peace and compassion, and even support, service, and community, and praying for world peace every day, they were the first to have me silenced. After my own mother, of course. My sensei just passed in his 90s. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, a living legend, passed on my watch. I cannot be grateful enough and deny honor to my creators. Walking in some big shoes that I stepped in, I was on fire, and I had to be made humble. My vision was radical, but not disruptive or destructive. It was a legit and well thought of, and humanly attainable, strategically perfect, and with just a little interest and careful consideration, absolutely feasible, and everyone would have, should have, could have not had to go through the whole process. The world was falling apart, and I couldn't sit back and wait for others to catch up. I realized I found my purpose, and I had to act, but I was overwhelmed and trying to understand my position. All this fascinating magic and this thing called synchronicities were happening, and I was key, and I was trying to understand it myself, but how to make believe, my nearest and dearest. I knew I was one from fairy tales and fantasies. All the prophecies converge around me, but I never had to believe, and I believe nothing. Omi is real, the oddity and celestial anomaly. Hidden in plain sight, the whole celestial higher and underworld realms aware and congruent, but not even my own can recognize. So how can any other human? Exactly as John depicts in the New Testament. A new economy, currency, based on human bonds. I was trying to raise money for a good cause. People want change, they say. But here I presented it on a metaphorical golden platter, but they did not even entertain the possibility. One of the first things that had to go was the current economic system. Jesus is said to have kicked the bankers out of the temple. My hero, rebel, and inspiration. I did not know, but I did so exactly the same. Money, it seemed to me, had become a tool, a weapon of oppression, and the puppeteer strings. But it is in truth the restrainer, aka Almani. You see, money really is God, a divine aspect or principle. It is a teacher of values and priorities, masquerading as a necessary evil. Mahavidya or Dakini. Money, as we know it, is no longer, or if ever were, a mere medium of exchange. It appears as a demonic entity built on debt, abuse, violence, corruption, manipulation, greed, misery, and all the evil as it seems. As I mentioned, Mahavidya or Dakini. It enslaves people, controls governments, and dictates the course of human history. I declared that money was dead. I did not answer to it, but the rest is dangling on it. a rolling expiry date on its current existence. And in its place, I envisioned a new kind of currency, one based on human bonds, genuine value, and worth based on good deeds, and not profit, control, abuse, or greed, not fake fiat or monopoly life, sucking leech or vampire. In this new world, people would be rewarded for their contribution, service, for compassion, for their empathy, creativity, and for the ways in which they uplift each other. This new gold standard currency would be distributed to everyone as a gift, a way to start fresh, to reset the moral compass of the global economy. I called it Karma Bag with Yang, the Egyptian key of life as its symbol, designated poetically myself as Omi, alchemist. Money is dead, I declared, and in its place would rise a moral way of living, and an ethical, sustainable, dignified economy, where every person would have the opportunity to thrive, not based on need or greed, but on the value of their, that is, our shared humanity, and enjoy like royalty in equal earthly privileges. This was more than just a shift in economics. It was a shift in consciousness, an upgrade in the awareness and understanding of the human state of being. It was time for a new planet-wide regime change, which I recklessly called, the Kingdom of God. I put you up on a pedestal and declared you my God, and made it my life's mission to set you free, and the rest of my human family. I set my own definitions and standards and raised the bar on humanity. I set out to be an example and set principles and benchmarks for my children. You know, self-appointed guardian, I adopted all of them. Yeah, I know. Why not the theatrics? And grandiose throne, oh. Yeah. Je suis Bibol. Ami. Moni. Ego sum. I am. Ermi is real. Messy. And muddy. Osiris, Kemetic king of underworld, oh my gosh. Orion, with Odin the dog star. Canaan Majoris. Osiris, the brightest star in the earth sky. Humanity's mascot, my puppy. And solo sidekick. It is written in the stars. Me and my son. The husky. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Oh me. How could it all be? Mischievous. Ominous. Oh me knows. High thoughts. Do you mind? Exactly so. Oh me knows. I did not realize at first, but apparently I just forgot. Human limited, with infinite high potential and timeless no end. What is your problem? Blame it on me, I admit. I am guilty. But lucky also for you, I am here present. Yeah, and ready and able to solve it, even make it disappear. I care so much so as if it were a crime. Go ahead and try sue me. Did you not know I am Yah is also money, like Je suis? This will not be a religious or God-forsaken nor dog-demented control freak show. Those who believe, pray, and practice, and those who are wise, they question and seek truth. It was not intended to be a spiritual movement, even just humanity's freedom. I put a target on this God and money. Voila! It was based on principles of truth, love, respect, righteousness, kindness, compassion, loyalty, responsibility, community, service, and family. And it was designed to replace the dysfunctional systems that kept humanity in darkness and misery. I issued a call to action, a demand for the world's leaders, the politicians, the military, the corporate elites, to lay down their weapons, to cease all destruction and exploitation. The current governments are no longer fit to serve humanity. They have been declared defunct. They seem to have failed us. That was 8 years plus back, and it was time for them to step aside and make way for a new system, one that would ensure peace, unity, and a chance for humanity to enjoy the life it was meant to live. This was the moment we had been waiting for, and everything makes all the sense to me, because I have been honored and privileged to arm myself with wisdom as my choice of weapon. This wasn't just a dream. This was, is, and will be my reality. And I stared now I am ready to finish. Almost done. Already. The world is and has been ready for change. And I was, as always, unwilling at times, ready to lead. I wasn't seeking power for the sake of power. I was seeking freedom for all of humanity, and dignity, and love, and happy. Mir Shastye, Yahoo, Makarachi. And so I assumed and acted on behalf of you, with anticipated permission and democratically undoubted supermajority, if not unanimous, a clean and clear, uncontested, landslide victory. This was my gift to the world, a vision of freedom, peace, and unity that could bring us out of the darkness and into the light. But hidden in plain sight, marked clearly by name and number, the weird shh. This is only the beginning. This manifesto, this dream, this vision is not the story of my life. It was intended to be my declaration of independence, not just for myself, but for the entire planetary human collective. I have fought, I have grown, I have lost many a battle, but mistakes there are none. It's all a learning process. And I have sacrificed everything for this cause. I cannot imagine any more noble cause. And yes, my life has been worth the living while. I have endured setbacks, heartbreaks and betrayals, taken abuse, and even been spit on the face. It was a blessing. My boss right, starting from the bottom feeders, as they are labeled, building Toronto ground up. I fight on the front lines for my dear babies, at all levels, and I don't give a damn about protocols. I already enshrined recently the push, CC, the Planetary Constitution. I have never faltered, well, just once. I was about to quit, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, bless his spirit, intervened. I was gonna run away to Africa and become a farmer, and that was in spring of 2019. The journey has been long, a roller coaster ride through hell, literally, and the battles have been hard. They did not have a direction manual, and I keep forgetting a whole lot. Would you like to try keep up? Just try match me. I am still here, and I don't know what it means to give up. I am all in. This has to be the winning streak. I win. Everybody wins. So what will it be, baby? I promise I will not stop. Not until my human family are all free. No soul left behind. And I am, as I have been, lone wolf. And so high and so low. Soul, oh. Soul, oh. Stepping back to the manuscript, 8 years nearly passed. The moment of awakening. The rewiring of my brain was no accident. Everything that had happened to me, everything I had been through, from engineering dropout, to retail, to real estate sales, to day trading, to battling my inner demons and angels as guardians, had led me to that point. It was as if the universe had been preparing me for the mission all along. My mind, trained in spotting patterns, recognized the interconnectedness of everything. The flaws in the economic system, the manipulations in politics, the misunderstandings in religion. The patterns were clear, and I followed them like breadcrumbs, piecing together the truth, deducing like Sherlock. Every moment of apparent failure, every apparent misstep in my life had brought me closer to this purpose. I realized that my experiences had given me the skills, the resilience, and the unshakable faith that I could and I would, somehow or the other, live a life worth living. When I finally asked myself, why not me? Everything fell into place. I was nobody, yes, and that was exactly why I could succeed where others had failed. I wasn't blinded by the system because I had never truly been part of it. I saw it for what it truly was, and I had the clarity to build something new. This wasn't about ego, it was about truth. It was about serving humanity, about offering up path to freedom in a world that had forgotten what it means to be free. I wasn't afraid to take up this mantle. I knew that the world needed a leader who wasn't part of the old system, someone who could see clearly, think boldly, and act decisively and with impenetrable integrity. And that leader, since I could not find another, I audaciously chose to be me. A legacy for humanity. This manifesto is not just a document, it is a legacy, a blueprint for a new world built on truth, love, and human connection. It was meant to be my gift to humanity, a declaration that we can break free from the chains of greed, violence, and ignorance. We can build a world where every life matters, where every person is valued not for their wealth, but for our shared humanity, just because they are alive and breathing. I offer this vision not as a final solution, but as the beginning of something extraordinary. I know there will be challenges ahead, and this year I had the opportunity to put most of my message and work put together. I know the world, many will resist change, oh my. Do I not know that? So comfortable are some in their misery, but I also know that we are ready. The time for action is now. The Indigo, Crystal, and Rainbow children are an upgraded blueprint, as they say, of the human being. We are here to help raise the frequency of the planet, to guide us into a new era of consciousness. The systems I have outlined, economic, political, spiritual, are ready to be implemented. It's a work in progress. The foundations are set, and I have shown my human determination and capacity. All we need is the courage to step into the light. You won't see me wearing a mask. I declared openly what I did, and the bridge between all faith, with celestial wisdom and supernatural abilities. And I never look down on anyone, and I'm fighting for every human. So, what's it gonna be? I started off as nobody, a seemingly below average somebody, plucked from the unfathomable pool of so many anybody's. A nobody who wanted to be his own best and inspire others to do the same. Why not me? I chose to be an example, a role model for my present and future generations. And I challenge them to human up and match up. And let's be honest, nobody really cares for everybody. Nobody at royaltoronto.org, my email. Join the love revolution at trono.live. Nobody knows Tron O Rose. In a world seemingly spinning out of control, somebody had to do something. And this nobody volunteered audaciously with the most altruistic, optimistic love and responsibility for all of human species. I didn't win the celestial lottery. I didn't get some divine golden ticket that said, "Congratulations, you've been chosen to fix everything." No, I spoke far too deeply. And in these 8.5 years, they made me earn my words' weight in truth. The deeper I went, the more I realized that redefining reality wasn't just about me. It was about bridging the gaps between the cracks and crevasse in our society. I became the bridge between all the faiths and philosophies, the ones divided by centuries, millennia, eons of distortion, misunderstanding, and purposeful manipulation. It wasn't easy, and the challenges stacked higher than I ever expected. But the more they told me I couldn't do it, the more I knew I had to. This manifesto doesn't end with a tidy resolution. How could it? The mission is still ongoing. The story far from over, and I am a constant work in progress. I faced monumental setbacks, betrayals, isolation, moments where the weight of it all felt unbearable. And yet, despite it all, I feel the momentum building. I see the world shifting, little by little, ever so steadily speeding. There's a growing recognition that we need something more, something better. My vision has always been clear: a world where technology and innovation serve humanity, not exploit it. Where sustainability isn't just a buzzword, but a way of life. Where people of all races, faiths, and nations unite under a banner of empathy, peace, and a higher consciousness as one family. As the self-appointed world president, I've taken on an enormous task. I get that, but nobody else ever did. As if it were some crazy delusion. But against all odds, I believe I can bring about the change the world so desperately needs. First, I had to be that change. And my celestial guardians saw me seasoned and cured and prepped and cooked to delicio. I tried to be funny. In the end, this isn't about power or control. It's about freedom and truth and wisdom and a life worth living. Have you any idea what you are worth to me? More than all the gold and jewels. You are God to me. It's about the simple yet powerful realization that at the core of everything, life is the most precious, and as such, all life matters. And that truth, it's not grandiose, it's humble, it's real. And that's the truth I carry forward every day, no matter how impossible this mission might seem. I didn't set out to be a hero. I was trying to save myself and be good enough to be perfect for someone. I did it for love. And guess what? I got the greatest surprise. I like being nobody. But after all, I am what Mayo. Fakolakinet, I call dikik out. And if this world needs a nobody to step up and remind everyone of the power we all hold within us, to remind everyone that we are capable of so much more than what we've settled for, then maybe, just maybe, that nobody can change everything. This is my gift to the world, my ongoing promise. A new system, a new way of life, and the unwavering belief that together we can change the course of history. After 8 years, like the sine kainki cosine curves, when they come together, it's a circle. And so what's it going to be this time around? It's me, against the world. Baby, whose side are you on? I got the keys to Zion. Winner takes it all. Is human species worthy? Can you see? Do you believe? I believe nothing. And please don't expect me to fit in any distorted expectations. Forged in the celestial fires, the phoenix must burn before rising from the ashes. I did not realize at first, but I was born ready and specifically made for all this. And my time is just beginning. And oh, what a story. All I desire is love, truth, respect, and wisdom. And I don't like taking, so I just give. Now here is the final catch. Freedom is not free. Name your price. I got it. With all your money, you can't afford me. Timeless class. Oh, but I am Omi Alchemist. Do you have faith? It is written that faith in a particular someone could grant immortality. It would be a quantum. Celestial leap, at least. Are you curious or skeptic? I can guarantee zero risk and ultimate returns on this particular pair of hearts. Twins, shh. Welcome to magic. And the secret is already out there. Genie is out of the box. Now who wants to party? Mir Shastye, Makarachi, Ami toke onek bhalobashi. Te amo, mi amore. I love you more and more. Adio, adio. Jaku.